Did you know at Wiley Sanders Truck Line that we offer Blue Cross Blue Shield, we offer dental, we offer disability, we offer vision, we offer life insurance, cancer insurance. We also have a 401k where we match up to 4%, dollar per dollar up to 4%. We also have automatic trucks at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. If you go to a truck driving school, we'll reimburse you. And don't forget about the $1,000 sign-on bonus. Money! Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. We help you save for your future.
Napa know-how.
Here's some Napa know-how for you. Your local Napa Auto Parts store in Troy is under new ownership with an all-new fully stocked store. Big deal, you say? Big deal, we say. Like the ownership, the store has a new look, too. We're still delivering the same Napa quality and know-how, but we've increased our inventory and are committed to helping you find the parts you need when you need them. So come check us out. We've got the right part at the right price at the right time.
Know-how. Napa know-how.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas Station.
Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. Look at that set. Man, take a look at that set this morning.
Did you know at Wiley Sanders Truck Line that we offer Blue Cross Blue Shield, we offer dental, we offer disability, we offer vision, we offer life insurance, cancer insurance.
Back here to our show, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're doing well on a Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. And I know a lot of folks out there looking forward to heading out to the weekend, to the beach. Now, is this spring break this week or the next week, Steve? For city schools, Troy City Schools. Oh, it's one. I don't know if 311 is on yet, but let's see if it is. Let's see if they're here this morning. I don't know if they're here this morning or not. We'll find out, though. Of course, if you need any information at all, dial 311, and they'll give you up-to-date information on things going on in our community. I want to mention, too, Bear Bryant, the play Bear Bryant, going on at the Shakespeare Theater in Montgomery. Just has 3 or 4 days left. You folks have not seen the play, The Bear. It is, of course, I've heard it's very good, and I didn't get up there like I wanted to yesterday, but a lot of folks are going to the Alabama Shakespeare Theater this weekend to see Bear in Mind, so should be pretty good, no question about it. Hope you're doing well this morning on a Friday, and of course we appreciate all of our sponsors and Dalco Rentals. Boy, they're busy all morning long, starting around 7 o'clock, getting all their equipment out this morning.
This week coming up.
All right, this one start next week. This next week, huh?
Starts Monday.
Starts Monday. So spring breakers, you lucky things, you out there, you kids at Charles Henderson High School and the city schools. Pike Liberal Arts also has their vacation this week. So congratulations. A whole week, and then Easter, it comes up after that. Is that right, Steve? And, of course, we'll be hiding eggs everywhere, I'm sure, getting ready for Easter. Of course, we've got basketball galore going on right here in Troy. Well, not right here in Troy, but right here on Troy Cable. You saw some of the games last night. How did Kentucky do last night, Steve, before I had to look at it? Kentucky was getting beat when I went to bed last night. And I don't know how they're doing right now. a lot of other things going on. Of course, spring football is very going at it hard. Troy was practicing yesterday, and I bet they've got 150 kids out there, it looked like to me. And, of course, they are trying to find a quarterback, just like Alabama's trying to find a quarterback. And I think they found a couple of them, but they've got to make a decision on somebody. Then I want to say Auburn has already got one, so they're one of the very few teams in the country. I know Georgia's looking, not Georgia, but Tennessee's looking for one, and Florida's looking for one. Everybody's looking for that guy that can lead them to the what we call the promised land, the championship. And Alabama's been able to find one, it seems like, every year. So, of course, the young man, the backup kid from, of course, you've got Tua, and you've got Hurts, the two quarterbacks at Alabama. But the backup quarterback to them was a kid that was transferring to Alabama from East Carolina, but now he's decided that he's going to go and play right now for Washington State. So that's where it happens with these one-year guys. They can go anywhere they want to, and when there's an opportunity to play, I'm sure that's what they want to do. Pike Liberal Arts, boy, you're talking about a good baseball team. They win over Northside Methodist yesterday. They win 3-2 and 13-7. Alabama High School Athletic Association's number 2 ranked Pike Liberal Arts School swept Northside Methodist of Dothan in Alabama High School Independent School baseball yesterday. In the opening game, Reed Jenright allowed just 2 runs on 3 hits and struck out 6 over 5 innings and picked up the win. Cole McWhorter earned the save, pitching the final 2 innings and allowing just 1 hit while striking out 1. That's something. Jenright and McWhorter, 2 very well-known names in Troy lore. Northwest, of course, in the second game, Wood Jenright. You got Reed, and now you got Wood. Was 4 for 4 with doubles and 2 runs batted in. Reed Jenright was his brother was 2 for 4 with a solo homer, and Max Copeland was 2 for 4 with 3 runs batted in. Patriots Davis Allen was 2 for 5. Jade Sykes, Cody Hollis, and Nathan Renfro all had hits and RBIs for the Patriots. Wood Jenright was a winning pitcher, working 5 innings and allowing 6 runs on 9 hits and 3 strikeouts. So Pike now, their record now goes to 19-3 and 4-0 in the area. So they're off to a real good start, and we'll try to get up with the coach one day soon and find out what makes this team tick. I mean, it looks like to me they got pretty good hitting to go with good pitching, and that is a home run park, man. If you've ever been to a home run park and you want to see a lot of home runs, go out to Austin Field and watch it fly out of there. They've got the big wall in left field, but it's not but about 300 feet away, and I promise you, you get all of it. You can knock it a long ways in that ballpark. The wind blows out most of the time. Enterprise beat Carroll of Ozark 7-4. Enterprise has got a good team. A good friend of mine, Coach Pruitt, is the coach down there. Used to be here in Troy. And Enterprise playing very well right now. G.W. Long, of course, continues to win. They beat Wicksburg 9-3. Dylan Register, he's the guy that everybody talks about now. Picked 6 shutout innings and gave up just 3 hits on the game and struck out 8. The Rebels now 13-5, and most of those losses came to teams much bigger than they are. Geneva County beat Abbeville 15-2. Arrington, Nathan Holloway, Jeb Maud, and Jackson Blair combined on a 2-hitter, and Josh Sullivan and Bryson Peavy drove in 4 runs each for the Purple Cats. who scored 11 runs in the third inning. So the Cats are playing well at Arrington right now. Saw Roger Dale Gunner, one of Arrington's all-time greats, last night at Sisters. Opp beat Geneva 6-0, and they've got a pitcher over at Opp that is very good. His name is Logan Ross. Pitched 3 shutout innings and walked just 2 and struck out 7. Sperlin Kelly, Lane Worley, and Ethan Baker all had 2 hits for the Bobcats. Slocum beat Strong 10-6 in some other action, and then Brantley beat Highland Home 10-6. Bryce Dunn went 2 for 2, including a double and 4 RBIs for the Brantley Bulldogs. Grayson Layton had 2 hits, and Jake Kilcrease got the win on the mound for the Brantley Bulldogs. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
We also have a 401k where we match up to 4%, dollar per dollar up to 4%. We also have automatic trucks at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. If you go to a truck driving school, we'll reimburse you. And don't forget about the $1,000 sign-on bonus. Money! Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. We help you save for your future.
Napa know-how.
Here's some Napa know-how for you. Your local Napa Auto Parts store in Troy is under new ownership with an all-new fully stocked store. Big deal, you say? Big deal, we say. Like the ownership, the store has a new look, too. We're still delivering the same Napa quality and know-how, but we've increased our inventory and are committed to helping you find the parts you need when you need them. So come check us out. We've got the right part at the right price at the right time.
Know-how. Napa know-how.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance.
Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
Back to our show, brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Ram Trucks on the bypass. A brand new dealership in Troy, Alabama, located just north of my favorite Mexican restaurant, Namarcos, and of course my friend Jason and all the great folks there at Premier have got a deal for you. They say nobody beats a Premier price. So make sure when you walk in there, you've got a price from another dealership, and say, hey, can you beat this deal? And hey, they'll do it at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep on the bypass right here in Troy. Of course, we want to mention a few things going on a Friday, and as we head to the weekend, and like we said, we got a lot of baseball going on, and of course Pike Liberal Arts tearing it up, and Charles Henderson, who has under their new head baseball coach, won a big area game this week, beating Greenville 16-0. Also want to mention the Pike County Chamber of Commerce and the Pike County Economic Development and Troy City Council have opened up a brand new behavioral care center right here in Troy, and we appreciate those folks and all the efforts that went into to that. Of course, a few other things going on. We want to check our paper to make sure we've got everything set up for the weekend, but we look at these all these kids practicing football. You know, at least I would say close to 150 people, players were out on the field yesterday. It just show you how important football is around here. How you doing?
Hey, morning.
Mike Amos calling in from Birmingham this morning, and I couldn't help but notice, Mike, how many people Troy had practicing this spring. I bet they had 150 guys out there.
What, for football?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and, you don't ever see those kind of numbers in the spring,
Well, I guess it's just a lot of excitement with the
program. I didn't count them, but it looked like they had 150 people out there. I don't know exactly how many they've got, but
well, you got a lot of kids that are walk-ons and guys that are practice players that help out a lot. I mean, everybody gets a ring when it's all said and done.
Yeah, you're right. And let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen.
One of our good friends' son, Johnny Williams, of course, David Williams grew up in Troy, and he's got a national championship ring the rest of his life as a walk-on the 2009 national championship team in Alabama.
Yeah, and he looks the part. He looks like he played at Alabama, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying, these kids, work hard and help out in practice, and just like the Johnson kid at Elba.
Yeah, exactly.
He got into a few games, actually.
He was actually on their depth chart. You're right.
Yeah, played wide receiver in a game, and he actually lettered at Alabama.
I'm proud of that young man. You're exactly right.
He probably got a couple rings.
He can always say he played at Alabama, and there's a guy on the staff right now, Mike, who was not on scholarship, I don't think, until maybe later, and that was the Dice kid, Johnny Dice. I think he was a walk-on at Alabama.
I met him a couple times. He's really.
But I remember watching him play in several games. Johnny, they used to bring Johnny in as a running back at at Alabama. But I don't know if he ever was on scholarship. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm heading down to Auburn right now for the coaches clinic, and you'll be happy to hear that Neil Brown is one of the guest speakers.
Well, great. At the Auburn camp. That'd be great. What time does he speak today?
I'm not sure. I'll find out once I get down here. It's a guy named Neil Brown and a guy named Tom Osborne. You ever heard of him?
Golly, does he still speak? Former Nebraska coach.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear him.
Mike, walk up to him and say, "Tell the son of a buck not to duck us." Have you ever heard that? Have you ever heard that saying before? Tell the son of a buck not to duck us.
After his career was over, he got into politics, I think.
Yeah, you're right, he did.
Maybe.
He could have been governor, but I don't know if he ever ran for governor. But I'll tell you this about him.
Troy never played Nebraska when Osborne was there. They played him.
No, exactly.
When Solich was there.
Yeah. Osborne finally winds up. Let me tell you a story, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Nebraska had a great program, but they didn't start having a great program until after Alabama just wore them out 2 years in a row. 1 year in the Orange Bowl, Steve Sloan led Alabama to a 39-29 victory over Nebraska, or 39-28 victory over Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. And in that game, Sloan just picked them apart, and Ray Perkins had a field day. The next year, perhaps one of Alabama's greatest teams, a team that went 12-0, led by a quarterback named Ken Stabler in the Sugar Bowl, in the old Sugar Bowl. He threw 3 touchdown passes to Ray Perkins, and Alabama trounced that big, strong, so-called great Nebraska team 31-7. All right, the next year they finally let Devaney, the longtime coach, go, and Osborne was his assistant, and he became the head coach. And quickly did he start getting black athletes, not black athletes, but faster athletes, which a lot of them were great running backs from the state of Florida, and he started getting speed. He had everything on his team but speed, and that's what Alabama did to them. They just their speed just was too much, and they had guys like Cecil Dowdy and people like that were knocking those big linemen in the end zone. And But right after that, it took 2 trouncings by Alabama before Nebraska woke up and realized they had to get some skill players. And they got them, and, rest is history. They had great teams and had great teams ever since. And Osborne was a great coach. And they were going to a bowl game, and Osborne was trying to, back then, the media, the sports writers picked the national championship team, and he was trying to get it.
You're actually declared national champions before the bowls.
That's right. You sure were. Alabama won several of them before the bowls. But right before the bowl game, Osborne was trying to get Alabama to play him so that they could win a national championship. Back then, you had to beat Bear Bryant and Alabama to win a national championship. Well, Osborne got on TV and says, I don't know, but tell that son of a buck not to duck us. He was calling Bear Bryant a son of a buck. He said, tell that son of a buck not to duck us. You know what Coach Bryant said when he heard about it? He said, well, he hadn't been wearing his spurs regularly. That he was a young guy that hadn't been wearing his spurs regularly.
Yeah, not many guys would say that about Bryant.
Yeah, I know it. In fact, I laugh at my memory being able to remember something like that. I can't remember where I put my car keys this morning. But
well, I remember one time when I was a kid, of course, Mom was an Auburn graduate, and we'd go to Auburn games every once in a while. And we went over to Auburn one time, and they played Nebraska, and Nebraska just destroyed Auburn.
Yeah, they had a center. They had a center named Remington. You remember that?
Yeah, I don't know if it was in the late '80s or early '80s.
Well, I'm talking about. You're right. We left at the half. They were up 31-0 at the half. But that was a great Nebraska team. That's one that had the Remington kid, that center. They got a trophy named after him now. Can you believe that?
Yeah, the Remington Award. Yeah.
Yeah, the Remington Award is given, and of course he played a center on that team. And I want to say Bo Jackson played on that team, Mike.
Yeah, that might have been early Bo. Yeah, that might have been early. I know it was early '80s. I was just a little baby.
Yeah. Well, Troy baseball heads to the what might be the hardest place to win in America, wouldn't you say?
Well, it's usually the best baseball team in the Sun Belt every year.
Russo Park in the Cajun country. Of course, they play Louisiana Lafayette, one of the top teams. Lafayette, though.
I heard Barry McKnight say Troy's RPI, which is real important, is like 33. That's really, really good for a Sun Belt team.
That is real good.
Getting into the NCAA tournament.
And right now, Louisiana's just 8-11, but that doesn't matter. And 1-2. Troy's ERA pitching at 3.69 ERA, 1.77 over the last 9 games. So their pitching has been outstanding. They've got, of course, Andrew Crane right now is 2-2. Darren Osby's 2-0. Max Newton is 0-1 to represent the Trojans, and those are the guys that'll pitch.
You've also got Joey Dennison from Troy at Charles Henderson High School hitting 370 with 28 RBIs already.
Oh man, he's tearing it up. If he keeps on that pace, he could break the RBI record at Troy.
I don't know. That's a great question to look up.
I want to say Wendell Stevens, the great Wendell Stevens. And if you're watching, son, you were a great one. And he goes into the Hall of Fame next month in Troy. But Wendell Stevens, I know, had over 100 hits one year, and I want to say he might have had over 100 RBIs.
Yeah, now you play close to, I'd say 55 games, maybe a little bit more, maybe 60. So anytime you're over 50 RBIs, that's a really good year.
Mike, of course, Alabama.
Troy started off hitting a lot of home runs, but they've kind of slowed down now.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that
that's right.
Since they've changed the bats and the balls, not a whole lot of home runs.
Mike, I can remember, and I know you can too. I can remember when every guy that stepped up there could knock it out.
Oh yeah,
they just had power, and of course those were the old days, like you said, where the baseball was different. Of course, Kentucky got beat last night, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, that's got to be a brutal loss for Calipari's ego. You know, he had never lost to Kansas State. Kentucky had never lost to Kansas State as a program. And Weber, you know, who used to be the head coach of Illinois and took Illinois to the Final Four and you know, pretty much, you know, led throughout. Kentucky came back late and took the lead, but I still have no clue how John Calipari calls a play like that at the very end of the game. I mean, that was
what did he do? I didn't see it.
The guy just tried to go 1-on-1 and just throw up a 3 at the very end.
Yeah.
So it was bad defense down the stretch by Kentucky. They basically let a guy just drive the lane and get a layup, and they got the tallest guy on the court at the end of the game for Kansas State was 6'4", and the average height for the Kentucky player on that team was 6'7" on the court.
Yeah.
They had 2 6'11" guys in there, and you would never think a guy would be able to get to the rim and make a layup to beat them.
Yeah, I know it. Well, hey,
Texas
Scotty.
Texas A&M just got a buzzsaw from Michigan last night. They made, I think, 14 3-pointers, and I mean, Texas A&M's got those 2 great, you know, big guys, but that was it. They don't have any shooters that can compete with Michigan.
I tell you, Michigan must be loaded. I tell you what, they might be the dark horse to win it, Mike.
I had Michigan going to my Final Four, so that's about the only thing in my bracket that turned out to be right.
Yeah. Of course, I want to mention, ladies and gentlemen, you know, all of that can be seen on Troy Cable all weekend long, and there were some good ones last night.
How about Loyola Chicago? Got a really great chance now to make the Final Four.
That would be something.
I mean, I think they'll beat Kansas State.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, it surprised me that they've gone as far as they have, and
the only thing that reminds me of this is like a few years ago, George Mason went to the Final Four.
Yeah, exactly.
Every once in a while it happens.
Yeah, no question about it. I remember George Mason pretty well because Manley Johnson from right here in Troy was on the board of trustees at George Mason at one time. All right, last night Loyola Chicago beat Nevada 69-68. That was a heck of a game, wasn't it?
Yeah, Loyola was up by 10 late. Nevada came all the way back and tied it up, but Loyola hit a 3 to win it at the end.
Was all right, and the other game, Kansas State beat Kentucky 61-58. Kentucky got off to a 13-2 start. Kansas State was up 13-2. Did Kentucky ever catch them?
Yeah, Kentucky took the lead late, and then Kansas State, you know, found a way to win it at the end.
Yeah. Of course, that was a tough loss for the SEC, so the SEC's out of there now with A&M going down.
The best SEC, you know, as far as representative of the NCAA tournament ever, had 8 teams and don't even have anybody make it past the Sweet 16.
That's right.
Got to be a huge disappointment.
No question about it. Of course, games today, we've got Villanova and West Virginia. What a ball game. That's the Final Four game right there, Mike.
Yeah, they call them Press Virginia. They press a lot, so it's be interesting to see how the officials call the game.
Well, you know, the old UCLA teams, they pressed you all over the court. Is that what they do?
Yeah, if they let them play, you know, I like West Virginia's chances.
Yeah. Villanova's 32-4 and coached by a movie star. Is that right?
George Clooney. You know what
he does look like a movie star, doesn't he? And then, of course, they come on at 6:27, and then Purdue. I sort of like Purdue versus Texas Tech. I like Texas Tech too. I like both those teams. Who do you like there?
I mean, I haven't been taking Texas Tech throughout. I had Purdue going in the Elite Eight, so I guess I'll stick to Purdue.
You know, Texas Tech is not a real physical team, but they shoot the ball real well.
Well, they lost their best player, you know, the Haas kid from Oaks Bluff.
The kid from Purdue?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something. Of course, other games, ladies and gentlemen.
I swear, the next time a 7'2" kid comes out of the state of Alabama and they let him get out of the state of Alabama,
they ought to fire him, shouldn't they?
Yeah, be fired or questioned or something because you can't find 7'2" anywhere.
No question about it. Want to mention a couple of other games coming up tonight. And this is my favorite bracket here. Kansas 29-7 against Clemson. Now, an upset here by Clemson would turn this whole thing around completely, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, you already got 2 1 seeds out.
Yeah, I know it.
I mean, it wouldn't be that big of a surprise. I mean,
Kansas was 1 seed, wasn't they? And Duke was 1 seed, wasn't they?
No, Kansas was a 1, Duke was a 2.
Oh, okay.
I tell you right now, the guy that's got to be licking his chops as far as in the tournament the rest of the way has got to be Coach K, Coach Shefty.
Yeah.
I mean,
he should win this game, shouldn't he?
Oh yeah, they should beat Syracuse.
But I tell you what, that guy at Syracuse can coach, so you got to hand it to him, don't you?
Oh, he's won 900 games.
Was he down on the list of cheaters, or not cheaters, but people at
FBI report?
Yeah.
I don't know if his name's come up yet or not.
Was Coach K on that? Was he on that list, Coach K?
No, yeah, they were on probation years ago, though. I mean, Syracuse been on probation.
And this all started, ladies and gentlemen, by selling basketball shoes. Isn't that right?
No, they're trying to get.
Well, putting your name on them, though. Isn't that right, these coaches?
The agents were trying to get the best college players before they went to the pros to go ahead and sign agreements to either wear
exactly
Adidas or Nike cloth and shoes.
Exactly.
So they're trying to get them to be, representative of their product, and that's what happened. I sell Adidas and Nike, but, I sell the teams.
Yeah.
So none of that has anything to do with me.
So that's big money on what kind of shoes they wear. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it.
All right, well, look, who's the biggest out there, Adidas, Nike, or the shoe I used to wear?
Well, the biggest right now,
All-Stars.
Still is Nike, but, Adidas is making a huge push.
Do y'all even carry Converse All-Stars?
No, nobody wears that anymore.
Well, they wear them to knock around in, though, don't they?
I mean, people wear Chuck Taylor Converse. That's about the only ones you see.
Is that what it is, Chuck Taylor? My son knows a little bit about everything, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you. From basketball shoes on.
I sell basketball shoes for a living. I know what people buy.
Which would you rather have, Nike? You couldn't tell. You couldn't say, could you?
You got a brand new pair of Adidas I gave you. Those are some of the more comfortable shoes you can wear.
Yeah, no question about it. Adidas is made across the sea, though, isn't it? It's not made in the United States, is it?
Well, their corporate office is in Oregon and Portland, where Nike is.
I didn't realize that.
I mean, originally Adidas started in Germany.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And Nike started in Oregon, the home of Prefontaine. Is that right?
That's right. Oregon's track coach was one of the founders of Nike.
Yeah, I got you.
And he put Steve Prefontaine in a pair of Nikes. That's
right.
Kind of how it all started.
By far the most heralded track star in history, Prefontaine.
Yeah, he got killed in an automobile
That's
accident.
right. And he was driving some kind of souped-up sport car. They were paying him all kinds of money. Somebody said he was a millionaire. He sold for so much advertisement back when he was in college.
Yeah, there's a real good movie about that.
Yeah, but he's a legend. You talk to Scott in my studio right now, and his idol was Prefontaine. I'm telling you. Isn't that crazy? And he just brought me a cup of coffee just a while ago. Isn't that right, Scott? Prefontaine. And Prefontaine was about 5'7" or 5'8", and probably weighed 130 pounds. Isn't that about right, Scott? He wasn't a big guy, but boy, he could run.
But the biggest thing that ever got Nike going was Michael Jordan. Once they did the Jordan basketball shoes, the rest was history. Air Jordan changed everything.
Is he the richest athlete ever, Mike?
Yeah,
Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. Who?
Either him or Tiger Woods.
But Jordan is a smart guy. He had a huge corporation and everything, doesn't he?
I mean, Jordan's a billionaire.
Yeah, he's a billionaire. Yeah. All right, the other games that we are looking at, ladies and gentlemen, today, and this should be a great basketball night. When Michigan, let me see where I am here, Mike. Oh, Kansas and Clemson. And, hey, it wouldn't surprise me if Clemson didn't beat Kansas, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked by that either. Clemson's really playing great basketball right now.
They killed Auburn, I know that. Duke and Syracuse. Of course, Duke 28-7. Why is Duke sort of like America's team? Why is that? You see more Duke paraphernalia out there than you see almost anything. What do you think?
I don't say they're America's team. I'd say they're, kind of like a love-hate team. Some people love Duke, some people hate them.
Who do you think is the most loved team out of this team here? Either Kentucky or Duke or the old UCLA or...
I don't know, man. I see a lot of North Carolina stuff. I think people
a lot of baby blue North Carolina.
Yeah.
I think they need a coaching change. I've never been real high.
They won the national championship.
I just have never liked him much as a coach.
Who, Roy Williams?
You're right. He did win a championship, didn't he? But what happened to his players? They just left.
Yeah, they all went to the pros.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, our show is brought to you by First National Bank of Troy Brundage, and with locations on Park Street in Troy and locations on Main Street in downtown Brundage. And that they're going to be making a big announcement before long, and we'll be waiting to hear from them. And of course, we appreciate them very much. Want to mention also good friends.
Has Troy been on their spring break yet?
The city schools are on their break next week, are starting this week. And don't you know there's some excited people about it? I remember you and your group and all the mothers in your crowd would meet for over a week just getting everything down, fine-tuned on what they're going to do at the beach. Is that right?
Yeah, we're going to go down there for a week, and after April, after spring break's over, and we're looking forward to that. I get tired of having to go down there and do 3 nights and then get back on the road. So it'll be nice to be down there for a long time.
Well, of course, you know it.
The only problem is we got to avoid bicycle riders everywhere in 38. All these people try to relive their youth and ride a bicycle and don't know how to ride them.
Oh, yeah, I know it. You're right. It is a bunch of it.
I don't know how many older people I see wrecking on bikes.
That is a big bicycle area, and right now, you would ride down there and you'd say, well, they must be 4-laning the streets here or the roads here. Heck, they were building sidewalks.
They took off the path.
Yeah.
Down on 30A, and they're having to rebuild them because of issues with bridges.
Collapsing.
Collapsing. They had to replace the sidewalks because of that.
Well, it was able to hold my weight for a long time. I used to ride down there all the time.
Yeah, I mean.
And see, well, let me just say this though, Mike. The people down there at Graydon and also, I reckon you'd say all the way down 30A, they're much more conscious of bike riders than anywhere else on the beach. And you ought to be, people ought to be proud of that, especially the bicycle riders.
I heard y'all going to get sidewalks down there in Laguna Beach where Thomas's is. And I think that'll be great to have sidewalks.
Yeah, but of course that should be fun. And you beach goers, be careful. Of course, there'll be a lot of traffic coming and going. And of course, like we said, a lot of these high school kids have been planning for weeks and maybe even months, getting ready to go to the beach and fine-tuning everything. And y'all used to have some good times, but you sort of skipped a little bit on who your people looking at you were. Is that right?
Well, I mean, we always, we're in high school, we would go just ride up and down the strip. And then when we were younger kids, I'd probably just drop us off at Miracle Strip. And we'd probably just hang out at Miracle Strip all night.
That's right. Well, but one of the things was that some of your chaperones, y'all sort of led us astray a little bit on your chaperones back then.
About who was our chaperone?
Well, one of them, who's going to be your chaperones? That's what we used to be concerned about.
We had Neil Armstrong as our
chaperone. Neil Armstrong, of all people, would be the chaperone. And how old was he?
Neil was probably in college.
But this is what we find out later, that college boys were going to be their chaperone.
One time we had Sam Johnston.
Yeah?
Yeah, we had a bunch of them over the years.
Of course, y'all all had a good time. How many guys would y'all take down there? 5, 6, 7? How many would go with you?
Well, back then, everybody wanted to stay at Edgewater because because that was kind of like where the heart of all the action was.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's kind of funny how everything works out. Like Richard Calhoun, they had a place to Seagrove, and nobody was like, oh, nobody wants to go to Seagrove. There's nothing to do down there now.
Now everybody wants to go to Seagrove, don't they?
And now everybody wants to go to Seagrove now and Seaside.
Yeah. Boy, that place sure has grown up. You know, you used to go right. You can hardly drive through there anymore. The traffic's so bad.
Oh, I'll never forget when you could have bought. I was talking to my mother-in-law the other day, and you know we have a place in Graydon, and we're very lucky to have a place in Graydon. But you know, when Seaside first opened, you could buy a lot at Seaside for $10,000.
Yeah.
And back in the '70s, they were selling lots on the water, on the bay. You know, like where Freeport is. I heard for $500 a lot.
Yeah, ain't that amazing? Now they're worth millions.
Oh yeah.
Of course, you know, I tell you, Seaside. A lot of people don't realize how high that area is. You know, well, you do, but you know, you got to walk up and down some steep steps to get to the beach.
Well, you know, we got the truck, we can just drive and be right
Yeah,
next
I know, but those people at Seaside though, you're way high in that area. Isn't that right? A lot of water damage and things like that.
It's a lot different. That's right.
But it's beautiful, no question about it. And again, I hope everybody.
You know, when I was a kid, though, there was Miracle Strip, and then there was another place called Petticoat Junction.
Oh yeah, I remember Petticoat Junction. Yeah.
So,
Where was the place that I used to lay in a raft off all day? That was fun.
That's still there, Shipwreck Island.
Yeah, that's where I like to go. I used to just lay in the raft and watch y'all play.
I'm passing through Childersburg, and there's a donut place called Lickin' Good Donuts.
Licking Good. All right, Mike, call a name out. Childersburg, the home of, I tell you who it was a home of, a former Sanford Howard College quarterback, a long-time player under Bobby Bowden at Howard College, was the quarterback that led Sanford to a huge win over Troy back then. And Johnny Shoemaker, you ever heard that name? You knew his boys, didn't you, that went to Troy?
Yeah, I knew Matt Shoemaker real well.
That's right. And of course, you know, he married Alice K. Ward from Troy. She was a cheerleader at Troy, but he went to Howard College and played under the legendary Bobby Bowden. And Ed O'Toole played on that same team. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think I'd heard that story before.
But from Childersburg. All right, who else do you know from Childersburg?
Well, I mean, the best athlete to play at Alabama in years, and then he played about 15, 16 years.
Basketball, yeah.
Wallace.
What was his name?
Gerald Wallace.
Gerald Wallace. Would you think he's one of the top 5 to ever play at Alabama?
You know, they were talking about that the other day, who's going to have the best pro career, you know, ever in Alabama. And they were talking about McKee, McDyess, Ori. Sprewell was probably number 1 as far as what he did.
Sprewell, yeah, he was pretty good, wasn't he?
But they're talking about what kind of career they thought Colin Sexton would have. But Wallace made a couple of All-Star teams, and you know he led Charlotte in scoring one year. I think he averaged 22 a game.
Well, you know, your favorite player, Big Shot.
My favorite player will always be Robert Horry.
Yeah, but Big Shot Bob them. But something I think you forget a lot. Robert Horry was not that good a scorer or not that good a shooter when he was in college. You know, he became that long-distance shooter later.
He got better his junior, senior year.
Because you remember he used to sort of slam it up there. Had no touch at all. But, of course, he'd get the rebound and slam it in there. And he was a good rebounder and a great player at Alabama. But he became the notorious shooter when he got in the pros, I thought.
Well, I mean, he was probably the greatest clutch shooter of all time in the playoffs.
All right, you had Horry from Andalusia. You had Stick Person out of Brantley, considered one of the best throw shooters in the history of pro basketball.
Well, no, he actually won an NBA three-point shootout, too.
Yeah, won it two or three times. And also
Chuck way more points than Weston.
Oh, I know it. And, of course, Chuck was a great one. Of course, Chuck Person. All right, those 3 came from Brantley and Andalusia. Name me some others. One of them is Wallace, who came out of Childersburg. Name me some other great pros from in this area here.
Well, I mean, you had oh man.
Well, you had
you had the guy on down the road in Mobile that played at Alabama, played in the pros for the Bulls, won a lot of championships because he played with Jordan. Jason Caffey.
Yeah, the Grant guy, Travis Grant. Have you ever heard of Travis Grant? Travis Grant played, huh?
I don't know if I know him.
Well, Travis Grant, I want to say, played out of one of the small schools here in South Alabama and went to a small college and went on and started in the pros. Travis Grant, a lot of folks remember him.
One of my top students is Leeds High School. That's Charles Barkley.
Yeah, I know it. He was one of my favorite. But mine was Mule Johnson, Mike. Boy, I loved him. What was Mule's first name?
Mule King.
Mule King. Boy, he was my favorite Mule.
His name was Reggie King.
Reginald King. And, boy, he was a great one. Boy, on that team, you had Reginald King.
You had Enos Watley out of Birmingham. He was a great player.
Yeah, Enos Watley was a great one out of on that team. And then they had Buck Johnson was on that same team there, wasn't he? Buck Johnson wasn't he?
Yeah, Buck Johnson played for years for the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, all of those guys were pro players. Enos Watley, I don't know if he played in the pros very long.
Yeah, Enos Watley played for the Chicago Bulls.
Did he?
Yeah, then you had T.R.
Dunn.
He played 20 years in the league, I think.
And you know something about him, he was not a great shooter. He was a great defender. And they would put him on the big shooters every time they played him.
Yeah, he was Defensive Player of the Year.
The great T.R. Dunn, you're right.
Yeah.
Boy, that was some great teams, wasn't they? Yeah. Now, Leon Douglas didn't play on that team, did he?
No, he was CM Newton early years.
Yeah. Of course, Leon Douglas was a great.
I was at Highland Home the other day, and I was looking at their gym, and I was thinking about the great guy that played for Troy, LeMaine Wilson.
You're right. Highland Home. Hello, Highland Home, Alabama this morning. We salute Highland Home. And you're right, the great LeMaine Wilson. And, Mike, they had a running back over there that was a great one. Do you remember that?
He's the guy that played at Troy, Eddie Brundage?
No, not Brundage. Brundage played at Dozier, Mike. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
But this guy, buddy, he was a great one. Running back at Troy from Highland Home. The Flying Squadron has produced some good players over the years.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of talent. Of course, right now out of Luverne, you got Dante Hall.
Yeah.
6'9", playing for Alabama, a shot blocker. So, I mean, there's all kinds of talent just in that one area.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. And, of course, one of the other game this weekend that we haven't talked about yet, one thing is who would have expected Gonzaga to get beat by Florida State? Did that surprise you?
Well, Leonard Hamilton's been coaching for years, and he's just got so many great athletes over the years, and they finally have come together and are playing their best basketball. So, Gonzaga lost 2 guys to the first round of the draft last year.
Yeah. And I was looking at the Elite Eight now, and that's Villanova playing.
Well, you don't get to the Elite Eight until after tonight.
Oh yeah, after tonight. I'm sorry. So, but you got games tonight: Villanova and West Virginia, and Purdue and Texas Tech, and then of course the big one, which I'm gonna be watching, is Kansas and Clemson, and Duke and Syracuse. So. Boy, those are all right. Those are is that the 4 teams left or what?
That's just the teams playing tonight.
Yeah, that's right. And then the other games will pit Michigan and Florida State.
You got Kansas State playing Loyola Chicago. You got Florida State playing
Florida State's playing Michigan.
Michigan, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Those are the how many teams is that left? 10.
Well, I mean those teams are already in the Elite Eight. Tonight they'll decide the rest.
Okay, I got you. So, then, of course, those games
this is a crazy thing I read yesterday. Nick Saban, Spurrier was talking about how he thinks Saban will coach another 10 years. And Nick Saban said that, you know, just like you've always said, that he's a lifer and that he stays the latest and works the hardest. And he claimed in an article that he's been 180 pounds for 20 years.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
How do you not gain weight in 20 years?
I know it. And, you know, and it's something else that I'm going to break people's heart, but I've heard by a reliable source that they saw him in his backyard smoking a cigarette the other day.
He does not smoke cigarettes.
You sure?
100%.
Are you sure?
I got guys that work in Tuscaloosa. He might chew every once in a while.
I know he chews.
He doesn't drink at all.
He doesn't?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Well, I tell you something else to make you feel good, ladies and gentlemen, is that he rakes his own pine straw. Did you know that? They said they saw him in his backyard doing that the other day. We're talking about somebody who lived right next door to him that's been telling a friend of mine some of this stuff. Everybody, all right, now one thing we know for sure that he does, he eats a Little Debbie's cake every morning. Is that right?
Yeah,
that's his favorite treat is a Little Debbie's cake. Is that right?
I think for lunch he just eats like a turkey sandwich and a salad or something.
A turkey sandwich. Hey, we're treating him like he's a god. Is that right? He's just a football coach, Mike. A pretty good one at that.
I'll be down in Auburn here in about an hour, and Malzahn will walk around, and you would think he's just still in high school.
Well, and you know what he does.
He's a real friendly guy.
What he does that's different from everybody else. After every home game, he eats at Waffle House.
That's right.
He eats at the Waffle House, and I reckon they just hold that seat for him. Is that right?
Yes.
Find out some information on that. Of course, I want to mention some great people out there. One of them is Preston's. Boy, what a great steak tonight at Preston's, whether you want a ribeye or you want a filet. Boy, their fillets are delicious, wrapped in bacon, all 8 ounces of delicious meat cooked the way you want them. And of course, got a big, fine baked potato, and I love their toast, and they got brownies for dessert. They got salads. I recommend Preston's. Wonderful place to eat dinner tonight, whether it's a hamburger steak or lunch for a hamburger steak or their big, huge hamburgers. Mike, you can hardly get your hand around the hamburger, much less your mouth.
Well, if that's the case, I'll be eating there next time I go through Troy because I love a good burger.
Well, they've got one, no question about it. Looking at the NIT, Mike, and this is fun to look and see how some of those teams are doing.
Western Kentucky went on the road, I heard, and they beat USC at USC, and then I watched them beat Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State. Stansbury's done a really good job at Western Kentucky.
And Western Kentucky was in Troy's league just up till just not too long ago at all. Isn't that right?
Well, yeah, they went to Conference USA.
Western Kentucky plays Utah on Tuesday, and then Penn State. And these games will be played in New York, so this is the semifinal games. Penn State and Mississippi State. Wouldn't it be nice to see Mississippi State win that championship?
That'd be something to see Mississippi State play Western Kentucky. You'd have Stansbury going up against Mississippi State, where he coached for 14 years.
Wouldn't that be something? And Stansbury's a good coach, no question about it. Of course,
Coach Cunningham, and Coach Grant coached under Stansbury for years at Mississippi State. So if anybody knows Stansbury, it's those two coaches.
They're all good friends. You're exactly right. I tell you, I was at a meeting in Abbeville this week, and I want to say hello to all my friends down there in in Headland. I was in Headland, and I get them mixed up because they're right there together. But what a great meeting we had, and a lot of fun. And Ben Fletcher, Mike, the assistant basketball coach at Troy, one of the great all-time players there too. He did this. He spoke and was outstanding. He is a great speaker, an outstanding man, and I think he's not far away from getting a head coaching job somewhere.
Well, he's been at Troy a long time. He's one of those guys that's been very loyal to the program and stayed around after Maestri and Felix left, and it's going to be a situation where he's probably going to have to go down to a smaller level, Division II or something like that. But, yeah, I think he'd be a good head coach.
Well, I tell you what, we were talking about the chemistry on that coaching staff, and, Coach Grant's a great guy. Hey, Mike, he says Coach Grant could still play. He says, that they scrimmage against these players a lot because, they want a good matchup. So Coach Grant gets in there with those big guys, with Bernardo and our other big guy. And, hey, he makes them have to really work hard.
Yeah, I think he played overseas for years.
Yeah.
He was all SEC at State.
Oh, yeah. He's a great guy, great man, great coach. And we were talking about that. And, Coach Cunningham has put together a great staff. He says that there's nobody in college basketball works any harder than Coach Cunningham. Coach Cunningham gets there at about 5 o'clock every morning, works out with weights, and does his running and all that before 6 o'clock every morning.
Yeah,
And then he's watching film. He just constantly. He said he's never seen anybody with that kind of work ethic.
Yeah, his life's basketball. He's not married, doesn't have a family. His passion's basketball, and it's one of those things. I'm sure after this past season, he's got to be scratching his head. What could have been if Bernardo wouldn't have got hurt? But Sunbelt was really good this year, but Sunbelt gets no respect when it comes to seeding. They're still a 15 seed every year.
I know it. You're right, and that bothers me. Especially with teams.
They got to be better than a 15 seed.
Exactly. And and in most cases they would wear most of these northern teams out. Even though there's some pretty good teams up there, I think Sunbelt should get a lot more what I call tournament help than they're getting. I guarantee you.
Well, Kermit Davis is leaving Middle Tennessee State and going to Ole Miss.
No way! I did not know that.
Yeah.
Boy, he's a great coach. Kermit Davis is a great coach.
Yeah, he coached in Troy many a time. But of course,
you know what he told me? I got to be friends with him. I'd sit right behind his bench, and I got to be pretty good friends with him. And he told me he hated to come to Troy in Sartain Hall. He said I'd rather play Alabama or Auburn than play Troy at Troy. He said they were always hard to beat. Because he said they played him hard. He said every time, and he loved Coach Maestri and Coach Felix. They would go out. You would think that they hated each other. After the game, they'd go out and eat supper together.
Yeah, I'm sure that happened a lot.
Yeah, no question about it. Hope you're having a great morning on this Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Troy Regional Medical Center, one of the great local hospitals in Alabama. And I want to say good morning to Karen Herring and all my very good friends at Troy Regional Medical Center. And, of course, we're so fortunate not only to have great hospital, but we've got great doctors. And also want to remind you that SARA, the Southeast Alabama Rural Health Association, is located on the Elba Enterprise Highway, and they are open right now, ladies and gentlemen. It is, wait a minute, let's see here. It'll be 8 o'clock in 1 minute, but in 1 minute they'll be open for business, and they'll be open from 8 o'clock this morning to 8 o'clock tonight. That's 5 days a week. You can see a doctor without an appointment, first come, first serve, and then again on Saturday from 8 to 5, and on Sundays from 1 to 5. You can see a doctor without an appointment at SARA, and that is a wonderful, wonderful thing that we have here. And, of course, they call it, Mike, like you see in the big cities, what do they call them?
Boy, you're talking about the big cities, they call them doc in the boxes.
Well, all right, but what else do they call them? They call them it's an emergency name, and what's the way they call it?
Yeah, Virgin Care.
Yeah, that's right. And, of course, they do a wonderful, wonderful job to handle emergencies and different situations, and we appreciate them being a part of our show. Of course, we want to mention also...
I bet you they like the cut-through that got built. A lot of people probably take that back road through the public.
Oh yeah, they do. I'm sure they do. No question about it. And it's starting to be used more and more. The only problem I've got with that cut through, and I hope the mayor, I'm sure he listens every morning, or has somebody listening, taking notes on this show every morning. I'm sure he does. But one bad thing is coming from George Wallace Drive, you get in the right turn lane. All right, you're in a lane that either goes straight.
You could go right on.
Yeah, but it goes straight. It's the same lane. You go straight to public.
So you could back up a lot of people if you weren't turning right.
That's right. You can't. If you weren't turning right, you're backing up a bunch of people for a long period of time. And before they've got to somehow be able to make work a right turn in there. Surely Sonic will get rid of some of their parking lot for them. Well, Sonic, of course, is a very good business, and
I know, but I'm just saying to get a turn lane in there.
Yeah, exactly. Mike, the play Bear in Mind is at the Alabama Shakespeare Theater, and it will be ending on Sunday. Do you know anybody went to that?
Well, I mean, they've had it for several years now.
Yeah.
The same guy playing Bear Bryant. It must be really successful.
Yeah, no question about it. And a lot of people might want to watch that this weekend. Of course, we've got that is easy.
What did Max Hall have to say yesterday?
Just as nice as he can be. I'm gonna tell you what. I've known him for years, but he is a real gentleman. He is as polite as any guy I've ever known. He doesn't have to call in our show if he doesn't want to, but he says he likes to. He said every time he calls in, he learns things, and I think we have a real good chemistry, and so I can talk to him.
People realize when he calls in, he was the top guy in sports radio in Atlanta for 20 years.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Everybody in Atlanta knows him, and of course Birmingham too.
He went up against Bomb in Birmingham.
Yeah. But he just volunteers to call in. We have a lot in common. I was around when he coached at Troy, and he knows a lot about college football. I'll tell you that.
Wimp Sanderson, of course, legendary coach at Alabama, and his son Barry have a show in Tuscaloosa, and Max is their number one guest during football season.
Yeah, oh yeah. And of course, Wimp. Now, Wimp. People don't realize that he's just a big sports fan. He's a huge football fan, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he loves it all.
Of course, Wimp. Where did he play his college basketball, Mike?
Florida State.
How did you know that, son?
He's real involved. He talks about UNA all the time.
Well, I remember.
Wimp, I was talking to Barry the other day. Wimp's 78 years old now.
Well, that is something. I tell you what, he was a very good basketball coach, and he was under the shadow of C.M. Newton for all those years, and but he learned to coach defense. He was a defensive coach for a long time.
Yeah.
And, something about him, he became such a big celebrity at Alabama. Did you ever notice something about him? He did not come into the gym until about 2 or 3 minutes to go before they tipped it off. Did you know that? I don't know what he did, and he kept the crowd in suspense. They said, "Where's Wimp? Where's Wimp?" And Wimp would finally show up right at the last. And you remember they had those
Wimp was always funny. A lot of times he would be so stressed out, he'd be wearing Band-Aids on his cheeks because he'd cut himself shaving.
Oh, gosh.
A lot of games you'd see him with a Band-Aid on his cheek.
Oh, yeah, no question. And, something else about him, they had these fans, ladies and gentlemen, with Wimp's face on it, and you could see through them. And when he come out, everybody would put the fan over their face. And you remember that fan, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
And then, ladies and gentlemen, he wore plaid coats, and a lot of times he'd wear rah-rahs, the black and white shoes. He was classy. I love the way he dressed, and I love those plaid coats. I'd wear those plaid coats today if I had one, and I'd wear those black and white saddle Oxfords today if I got one. But people don't realize this, and I'm probably the only person on TV that would dare do this, but I'm gonna do it. I get comments all the time on some of the shoes I wear. I'm going to show it to them. This is the shoe I wear right here. I wear a black and white Bass Weejuan. And I just still love to dress like they did back in the 60s and 70s. You grew up having to wear Bass Weejuans, didn't you?
I grew up wearing like penny loafers, I guess.
Well, yeah, that was a Bass Weejuan in most cases. Of course, Wimp also they got so involved in that plaid jacket that they painted the lanes plaid, the center circle plaid. It was plaid all over it. The cheerleaders wore plaid. The dancers wore plaid. I mean, it was a classy environment, man, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad it came to an end. You know, Wimp had a lot to do with it coming to an end, unfortunately. But, you know, it's one of those things where what might have been, I would have loved to have seen him get to a national championship or a Final Four, but it just never happened. But then he ended up in Little Rock, and, you know, he had some good teams in Little Rock. He coached, you know, the great point guard for the Lakers for years, Derek Fisher there.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No question about it.
But yeah, back in the day when you had Wimp and you had Sonny, and you know that was a lot of fun basketball. A lot of people don't realize though that Wimp just dominated Auburn. I mean, Auburn rarely had good teams that could beat Alabama back then.
And you know what? They had some good personnel too. You know, I mean, how about just run down a few of the guys that they had other than on their roster at one time?
Well, I mean, their best players back then were Chris Morris, that played in the NBA for years. They had the Aubrey Wiley, who's, you know, Austin Wiley's dad. They had, you know, Barkley, Chud Person, Stick Person. They had a couple other guys.
They had another guy that played in the pros, Mike, with Barkley, didn't he?
Well, yeah, Chris Morris played.
Yeah, Chris Morris, that's right. But boy, Auburn had some players now. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
And they were good. And I just one of the nicest guys out there today is.
But Alabama's basketball record, I think they showed it the other day against Auburn, it's like 75 and 43 all time, something like that.
Surely they played more than that, Mike. Wouldn't you think?
I thought that's what I read.
Maybe so. Maybe so. And
2-1 against them this year.
Yeah, no question about it. Mike, I want to mention a few other things going on. Of course, Troy University is playing on the road in baseball this weekend, so I'm sure there could be some teams playing in the ballpark. You know, Riddle Pace Field is used by the city a lot of the times when the university is either on the road or they're you know, away during the summer. What a great place to play baseball for teams all over this country. I had a friend of mine I talked to yesterday, Rusty Gibson. He's got a law partner that the son plays you know, travel ball. He said they try to come to Troy at least 2 or 3 times a year just to play a game because it's so unique.
No, that's great. I didn't know that. Kids out of Tuscaloosa?
Oh, yeah. Well, out of Atlanta and everywhere, a lot of these travel teams play it on Riddle Pace Field. You know,
I mean, it's amazing the amount of, you know, games going on all the time. You ride by there and you see somebody out there.
Yeah, no question about it. Of course, we're coming down to the final weekend of college basketball, and, of course, your big upset. My big upset is going to be, and I don't know who you pick, but I have Kansas going to the final to the what we call the Elite Eight.
I mean, I think Kansas will win, and I think.
No, I said Kansas State though. Did you hear me?
Oh, no, I didn't. I thought Kansas State would get beat last night.
Well, I just think they've got luck on their side, evidently.
Well, no, it's not luck on their side. It's who they played. They played University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and now it looks like they're going to play Loyola, Chicago. I mean, 2 teams that nobody thought you would ever have to play.
Yeah. When Loyola, when the team from Maryland beat Virginia, Was that the first time ever that
We talked about a 16 that's never beat a 1.
a 16 seed for the first time ever beat a 1, and that is phenomenal. That's it. That's never happened. Never happened in the long history of that tournament.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing about that was if you just saw the athletes for Virginia against these guys they were going up against. I mean, it looked like they were literally playing like a junior college team.
Yeah.
But they had one guy that could just shoot lights out and score 28 points.
Oh, yeah. No question about it. Of course, the big upset last night was Gonzaga losing to Florida State. Gonzaga had won 32 games.
Kentucky was a 7-point favorite. They lost, too. That was a big upset.
Of course, Loyola Chicago beat Nevada, and Kansas State beating Kentucky. See, Mike, I think the Kansas State matches up well with Loyola of Chicago. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely. Nobody thought Loyola would have go this far.
So Kansas State is a sleeper in the Elite Eight, and then on the other side,
the sleepers Loyola Chicago. They're 11th seed.
Yeah, I like Michigan to beat Florida State without any question. So
no, Florida State's just beating everybody. I mean, they beat the number 1 team, Xavier. Yeah. They beat Gonzaga last night.
Well, I'm taking Michigan, and I'm taking Kansas State. Can you believe that?
I mean, locally, if you want to cheer for a team, I guess you ought to cheer for Florida State. They're only 2.5.
And I like Texas Tech to upset West Virginia. No, excuse me. I like West Virginia to upset Villanova. What do you think about that?
I don't know, man. Villanova, I think, is the best team left. If they play like they did against Alabama, they'll beat anybody.
Well, Villanova will. All right, Texas Tech and Purdue. I like Texas Tech to upset Purdue. What do you think?
Well, I think since Haas got hurt, I'll take Texas Tech.
Okay, Clemson and Kansas. I think everybody sort of likes Clemson here. I to upset Kansas. What do you think? I'm gonna take Clemson.
I'll be honest with you, man. It's hard to pick against Kansas. I mean, even though Clemson killed Auburn.
Well, and then finally Syracuse and Duke. I like Duke. So this is my Elite Eight, Mike. Is Kansas State, Michigan, West
all you got to do
Virginia.
is pick the games tonight. The Elite Eight's already been set.
West Virginia and Clemson. I know, but those just the teams I like, and of course I like Duke.
Well, I think right now in Vegas, Duke's got to be the favorite to win it.
It's got to be. I think it's going to go down between West Virginia and
I really don't think
Villanova. West Virginia and Villanova. One of those is going to win it.
A national team.
Yeah.
Huggins has never come close to winning that.
Well, hey, there's always a first. There was a first time for 16 to beat a 1. I like West Virginia to win the national championship, Mike.
Well, you're going to be
Can you
out
believe
of
that?
lose tonight.
Emma, you think they'll lose to Villanova tonight?
I mean, but Villanova's the number 1 seed overall.
Yeah, I know, and I understand they are good. I'm just going out and trying to have fun. Who do you like?
I don't know. I mean, I like Villanova or Duke from here on out.
Well, there's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of good basketball. And now,
halftime is hard to figure out what the game is. Sometimes it's on TBS.
I know it. Last night I saw Kentucky on CBS. Where's everybody going to be tonight? On what television?
I don't know. You'd have to look at it in the paper. They probably play the games on TBS and CBS.
All right, here we go.
They did last night.
TV, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
I'm going through Ellis City right now, and Wendy's sells breakfast here. I never knew Wendy's restaurant.
Yeah, I didn't either. You know.
They did that in Troy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else that's good too. McDonald's has come out with a new hamburger, freshly ground beef.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and of course
Wendy's.
Wendy's.
Just like their old school quarter pounder.
Yeah, that's right. But it's fresh meat, never frozen. That's what I like. All right, the first game.
I saw a commercial on that the other day.
The first game's at 6:07 tonight on CBS, Channel 8 on this dial here. Kansas, Clemson versus Kansas. So that's the first game tonight. The second game on TBS is at 6:27. TBS is 40 or 42, or 42 or what is it, Steve? 42 or 40. And that game is at 6:27. That is West Virginia and Villanova. Boy, that's a good game there. At 8:37 on CBS. Most of these are going to be on major networks, Mike. CBS is going to be carrying the Syracuse-Duke game at 8:37. And then at 8:57, you got Texas Tech playing Purdue, also on TBS. So what channel is TBS? 42 or 44? What is it? Steve, give us a little help. What channel is TBS? We know CBS is on channel 8 on Troy Cable Dial. And so that's the TV.
So you're trying to find TBS.
Yeah, TBS. Okay.
I mean, Troy Cable.
Right, Steve, what channel is that?
208 was HD, and then channel 8 was just regular.
Yeah, but and of course that's a good lineup for tonight, and I reckon you'll have to pick up the other lineup tomorrow in tomorrow's paper. But at least that's the basketball lineup, and it's going to be easy to watch tonight. All of them are back to back. It's going to be fun.
When is Troy University's spring football game?
It's going to be on April the 21st, and I'll tell you something.
That's the same day as Alabama.
Let me tell you something. You see this ring here? This is a ring that was given to me after Troy had gone to the 2003 NCAA championships. They lost in the first round to Xavier, but they made this ring and they gave me one of these rings. Ladies and gentlemen, if you buy your season football tickets before the end of April, it's got to be now, you got to buy it before the end of April, they will give you a replica, and when I say replica, they're pretty much almost identical to the same championship ring that they're giving the players for the Sun Belt Conference Championship.
It just won't have diamonds in it.
Oh, is that the deal? It just won't have diamonds in it. Will it have fake diamonds?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying there's no way they're going to give you a ring.
Oh, I know that. And most of them don't have real diamonds in it. Most of them have some kind of other stone. But you'll get a replica of the Sun Belt Conference Championship ring if you buy your season tickets prior to April 27th. Isn't that something? I think that's a deal, and I'd be proud of it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what those look like when that comes to pass.
No question about it. In fact, that's going on right now at Troy University. And, of course, I also want to remind you on April 21st, you need to go ahead and buy your tickets to the Hall of Fame banquet, which will be held that night. And have you ever been to one of those, Mike?
You know, I've been to a lot of Alabama Sports Hall of Fame banquets, and we've had a lot of good friends going to Troy, but I've always had stuff going on, haven't been able to go to them.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it's one of the best things Troy does. They do a fabulous job with this Sports Hall of Fame, and it will be going on that night after the T-Day game. I think it starts around 6:30 or 7 o'clock.
Actually, I've gone to some parties at the Alumni House to help out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the parties have been good, and we will have a party again after for the people that they go into the Hall of Fame. But I want to remind you that that is the night of April the 21st, and it will be at the Trojan Arena, and tickets are on sale at the athletic department right now. And one of the great players of all time who has been a citizen of our community for, I reckon, 40 years is Wendell Stevens, Mike. Boy, was he a great baseball player.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was one of the best players ever to play at Troy, one of the most clutch players ever to play at Troy.
Yeah. And I tell you, he was a great one. And, it turned out that, he grew up in Pensacola, and he went to Pensacola Junior College, was a great player there, and Coach Riddle signed him. And when he came up here, Mike, people didn't realize that that he was one of those Stevens boys from Troy's. Grady Stevens, the late Grady Stevens, and Wendell's daddy were brothers. And Jack Stevens, my good friend, were actual brothers with his daddy. So it was almost like he was coming back home to play baseball. Talking about Wendell Stevens.
I remember seeing his dad at all those games.
Mike, there's still a couple of guys out there that we've got to get in here and soon. One of them is the great Jude Rinaldi. How good was Jude Rinaldi, Mike?
I mean, he was a great player. I mean, I'm sure all these people will probably be in the next few years, I would hope.
Well, oh yeah, and hopefully he will. Of course, Jude, practically won that championship by himself. He was hurt. You remember that? And he just was on a tear. And, of course, he came out of Dunedin, Florida, and, boy, he's a great player here. Another great player that we've got to get in soon if we can is the great Steve Holly. Boy, he was a great one out of Sampson, 6'7", and he was a great player. Look at here. Stevie, man, let me tell you this. He's not turkey hunting, I don't believe. No, that's Scott. All right, Kansas versus Clemson is at 7 o'clock tonight on Channel 8, and Duke and Syracuse play at 9:15 on Channel 8. So those are good ones back to back right there, Mike. TBS is the other network that'll be carrying the other two games, and they'll be on about the same times on both channels.
But I mean, it's one of those things where. I think coaches, pretty much all the great coaches are in. It's pretty much just players now that you want to get into that Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I can't think of any coaches that have been left out.
Well, there was a great shooter out of Atlanta, Mike. He only played 2 years, but he was great.
Darryl Thomas.
Darryl Thomas, the great Darryl Thomas.
Yeah, I don't know
Atlanta.
how McCord went in. I mean, McCord was a great player, but how did Thomas not go in before McCord?
I know it. McCord was great, but you're right. Thomas was a great player, great shooter.
I mean, Thomas averaged 24 points a game.
Yeah, every year he averaged over 20 points a game, and I don't know if anybody else could do that. Of course, I thought they made a great move when they put Anthony Reed in. Anthony Reed. I would say right now.
Andy Davis has gone in.
Who?
Andy Davis has already gone.
Oh yeah, but those guys should have gone before Andy Davis. Andy Davis was a good guy, but was not a great basketball player by any means.
Oh my God, he was a great basketball player. Rebounded.
Well, but Mike, he was not a good scorer. He was not much of a scorer. He was from Graceville, Florida.
He averaged at least 15
He's
points.
a CEO, a big CEO that's got a lot of money. I tell you that, and of course he was a good player.
He was a guy that could do it all, though. He's a triple-double guy.
Yeah. But the best player to ever play at Troy during the was Anthony Reed in my book. Anthony Reed was the greatest player to ever play at Troy. If he could have shot free throws, Mike, he would have averaged over 30 points a game.
Yeah.
You remember he just played so hard, about 6'4", 6'5", and he was an Adrian Dantley type player. You get it underneath, you couldn't stop him.
I mean,
and he was from a little old town called Calhoun or somewhere like that, or Lowndes County, somewhere over in there. But he was just a country boy that could play.
Tony Holly was a great player. You had
yeah, I mentioned Tony Holly to Maestri the other day. I said, who was that guy with the bald head? You remember he didn't have a head of hair.
Calvin Altman was a great player.
But Mike, I'm fixing, and Altman holds the school record for most points scored in a game. I think 44 or 45.
Well, I mean, look how the team this year, you'll have Person in it one day, and you'll have Leonardo in it one day.
Yeah. But, Mike, I'm going to throw a couple of other names out at you that have got to go into this Hall of Fame. What's happening, man? What's happening?
What are you talking about?
It sounded like you were going through a tunnel.
Oh, I'm going on the interstate.
Yeah.
I mean, on 280 right now to Auburn.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at them, and Mike, how about this? the great one out of Birmingham. The great one out of Birmingham, Mike, named after a hamburger.
Oh, Mac Madison?
Yeah, Big Mac Madison, Mike. If he don't go in, they ought to do away with the whole thing. Mac Madison was a sure bet Hall of Famer. And there's one more out there. Can you tell me who that is a sure bet?
I mean, Carl Hollis was a great player.
Yeah, Carl Hollis was a great player and should go in, no question about it. Gosh, he was a great player.
The guy that played for Maestri on some of his last really good teams should go in. He was a 4-year starter. Was Robert Rushing was a great player.
Oh yeah, Robert Rushing was a great player. You're exactly right. There's just so many of them. You can do the same thing in baseball and in football. These guys that were great ones, but
I mean, he had so many great. Jack Smith was a great player. Jumped out of the gym.
Yeah, oh yeah, Jack Smith was a great player. Of course, he played football too, if you remember.
Yeah, he came out his senior year.
Well, let me tell you, the guy that I'm thinking of that was so good was out of Decatur, Mike. He was out of Decatur, Alabama, and he was a good one.
What years?
Well, back I don't think he played under Maestri. I think he played under Coach. What was our other coach? I know him well. Pike County Ford, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate them being one of our strong sponsors.
You talking about Archer or West Visalia?
West Visalia. He played under West Visalia, and he was a great one out of Decatur. And I was trying to think of.
I might not have been born.
You might not have. But, of course, he had some good players, too. West Virginia, of course, he had Carl Hollis and David Felix. What if you would have had those two today shooting the 3 points, Mike? Both of those were great 3-point shooters.
Yeah,
no question about it.
We'll have to get a list together one day if I ever come down and do a show.
And you can't get put but 8 in a year, but I tell you what I'm also for. I don't think every sport. I don't think we should be doing it.
Viger definitely needs to go in. He was a 4-year starter. Anthony Rabb.
Oh, Anthony Rabb was one of the great linebackers of all time. You're right, Anthony Rabb and
Garrett Pimenta was a great linebacker. I don't know if he ever went in.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Gosh.
Pimenta. You had Pimenta. You had Bradley.
Bradley and Pimenta were two back-to-back great linebackers. You're right. You throw Rabb in there, they could have played linebacker for anybody.
There's no doubt Rabb could have.
Rabb, Pimenta, and Bradley, all three of those were great linebackers. No question about it. But, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing I have in a little disagreement with the way they're doing things with the Hall of Fame is you don't have to go to every sport to pull them. If you need to pull 2 or 3 from football or 2 or 3 from basketball, don't worry about having to go to every sport. We're not trying to find the Hall of Fame in every sport. We want the overall Hall of Fame at Troy University. Don't you agree?
Well, you're going to run out of players.
I mean, right now, they're putting track people in and things like that, which they're good. But, hey, do they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame before some of these other people? Now, eventually, yes, but right now, let's put the best athletes or the most Hall of Fame type people. They call that kid from. You're gonna laugh when I say this. They called the kid from Decatur Yakadoo. That was his nickname, Yakadoo. Sales, Marvin Sales. Have you ever heard that name?
Yeah, I know he had.
Oh boy, what a great player out of Decatur. The great Marvin Sales should go in to the Hall of Fame one day. Now, hey, I've been there and I've watched it, and I don't know. Mike, let me be real facetious on television. I don't think anybody out there knows any more about the athletes that have played here at Troy than I do that are still living.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that.
And I'm nowhere near being on the selection committee.
You're about the only one left.
But I will write a note to some people I do know on that board and say these guys need to go in, and because they were super great. And the great Marvin Sales and the great Mac Madison and the great Steve Holly should definitely go in basketball. And then number 25's got to go in within the next couple of years, too. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Daryl Thomas.
I'll let you know how Tom Osborne and Neil Brown do here.
Well, that's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you have a great weekend, ladies and gentlemen. And, of course, you spring breakers, be careful and have a great time. We'll be here every weekday morning starting at 7 o'clock, and also on Facebook across the world. Hello, world. Have a great weekend.